Do not adjust your set. Yes, I am doing a different version of the same film I reviewed last week. So I'm confused, so you probably are as well. Disney's The Lion King, directed by Jon Favreau with an all-star cast that includes Donald Glover, Beyoncé, James Earl Jones, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner. It journeys to the African savannah where a future king is born. Simba idolises his father, King Mufasa, and takes to heart his own royal destiny. But not everyone in the kingdom celebrates the new cub's arrival. Scar, Mufasa's brother and former heir to the throne, has plans of his own. The battle for Pride Rock is ravaged with betrayal, tragedy and drama, and ultimately resulting in Simba's exile. With help from a curious pair of newly found friends, Simba will have to figure out how to grow up and take back what rightfully is his. Upon its release, the film actually only got mixed reviews compared to the original, which actually was critically acclaimed. Now, a lot of the praise was towards the special effects, the songs and the music, and the voice acting, whereas a lot of the criticism was due to its lack of originality and facial expression of the characters. So we're going to do what we do best on this channel. We're going to discuss 10 things that can make The Lion King better. As you're here, please hit that subscribe button, also hit the notification bell and you'll get notified every Sunday 6 PM when we upload our film reviews and also when we upload the other film thoughts video throughout the week. Once again, this video is requested, same as last week's video, and it's requested by Kitty the Cockatoo, who has a community gaming channel where lots of different people will play together. And so go and check her out. It is actually quite a fun, enjoyable community, even though I gave her a lot of grief for making me do The Lion King last week. Lastly, there are spoilers about the film, sort of. You'll find out what I mean when I say there's sort of spoilers. Number 10, live action. Even though this was nominated for Best Animated Feature Film at the Oscars, and there is only one non-animated scene in this entire film, and that's the beginning with the sunrise, Disney are quite convinced of calling this a live action film. And the reason behind it is because it wasn't animated traditionally. It had computers with AI actually doing the animated to make the film. Just because computers are doing the animation rather than people using computers to make the animation does not mean it's not an animated film. It's an animated film, Disney. Stop calling it a live action. It's not a live action film. Number 9, songs. This song actually uses all the songs from the original film. There's only one new original song, and that's Spirit by Beyoncé. Other than that, it's the same songs. But these songs seem actually a little bit slower. They're a little bit paced slower. They're not as powerful as the original one. And there's not as much emotion in the songs. I mean, when we watched the original last week, we were singing along to it. And as I said, it was only myself and my girlfriend watching it. But this week, nothing. We didn't actually feel the urge to sing along with the songs. And hell, we weren't even having our feet tapping to the songs. There was just something missing about the songs. I didn't exactly get behind it. Sorry. Number 8, voice acting. Now I confess, I actually write a list down while I'm watching the film and before I've done any research. So I know the critics actually said the voice acting was good, but I actually struggled with the voice acting while I was watching this film. Because in my opinion, all the voice actors are doing is actually just trying to copy what the original voice actors were. They didn't put their own flair, they didn't put their own style, they weren't themselves. They were just trying to copy the original actors. It also sounded like it was too forced, too staged. At least in the original, you could actually hear in the voices they were having fun, they were actually enjoying themselves. You didn't really get that in this film. Now, I know Jon Favreau did Lion King, and the voice acting, they were being themselves. I mean, Scarlett Johansson as Car was a stroke of genius, and she was perfect. Bear in mind, the original Car was the same person that did Winnie the Pooh. Very different, and it works. It updated it, whereas this, they're just trying to copy. I mean, one of the biggest points of contention is Billy, who voiced Timon, was actually more trying to be Ryan Reynolds doing Timon rather than him trying to be Timon. And I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't like it. And yeah, if you're doing a voiceover thing, do something original, do something unique, or be yourself. Don't just try and copy the original. Number 7, shot for shot. I have noticed that this has actually come up quite a lot, but a lot of it is predominantly exactly the same as the original. The same story, everything is the same, including some of the shots. Now, Jon Favreau has actually defended himself, which I'm going to read out word for word, because he said it on April the 28th, 2019. He stated that some of the shots in the 1994 animated film are so iconic he couldn't possibly change them. But despite what the trailer suggests, it's not just the same movie over and over again. And later he's actually gone on to say it's much longer than the original film, and part of what we're doing here is give it more dimension, not just visually but story-wise and emotionally. Well, he's sort of right, the film is longer, but that's because a lot of it is drawn out. The pacing of this film is a lot slower compared to the original. It was quite a fast-paced moving story, the original, whereas this is a lot more slower and drawn out, and it suffers for it. There is only one added scene, and that was Nala trying to escape from Pride Rock before she finds Simba with Timon Pumbaa. Now that's something they've actually got from the stage play. This film itself, there was nothing original about this film. Number 6, Mickey Mouse cameo. Yep, Mickey Mouse has a cameo in this version of Lion King. Well, sort of. Now in the original, Rafiki draws a very good line on the tree to represent Simba. In this film he uses bugs and dust and everything, and the result is the Mickey Mouse logo. Yes, Mickey Mouse has a cameo in this film. Yes, we get it, Disney. We know it's a Disney film. You don't have to actually spread Mickey Mouse in the film as well as on the marketing posters. Number 5, iconic cloud scene. One of the most iconic scenes in the original is where Simba talks to Mufasa, and Mufasa's actually a cloud. It is just a beautiful, well drawn, well thought out, emotional scene. And it's so iconic, it's been parodied so many times in so many different things, especially in The Simpsons, where they actually go one step further. Mufasa turns up and says, Kimba, no, Simba. If you don't get the joke, go and check out my video on the previous film. But it's that iconic. They couldn't possibly ruin that in this film, especially as they're doing shot for shot. Nope, they messed this scene up. It's just a normal cloud. Now, if you do look very carefully through squinted eyes, just as the lightning strikes, you can just see a line, but other than that, it's just a cloud, and it ruins it. It was a lot more heartfelt, Simba seeing Mufasa rather than just hearing. Yeah, how could you ruin such an iconic scene? Number 4, Buffalo, Too Slow. Another one of the most important parts of the films is Mufasa's dying. And that happens in the gorge because the buffalo is stampeding. Now in the original, this film is very fast paced, it's tense, it's emotional. You get the feeling of, oh my god, what's going to happen? You know something's going to happen, you know someone's going to die, and you're emotionally invested there. Now in the remake, the buffalo to me seems like they're moving too slow, which loses that tension, it loses that urgency, and to which you don't actually get as emotionally invested in that scene. And the film suffers for it. It was like, okay, they could avoid it. The buffalo looked like they were trotting. The buffalo looked like you could have avoided them quite easily. It didn't have that sense of urgency, and oh my god, it just ruined it. And when Mufasa died, you didn't have that emotional attachment to it like you did with the original because it was that fast paced. Number 3, emotionless. This is quite a point of contention in my household because me and my missus were discussing this all the way through the film. We were discussing this even as I was writing this very script and actually writing this part of the video. We were still discussing this. But in my opinion, the lines weren't showing very emotion. Now I know that the critics said that as well, which makes me think, yes, I've won this argument with my missus. That's a rarity. But still, now the eyes, yes, the eyes do show a little bit of emotion. I'm not going to say they were completely emotionless. But the mouths, they didn't smile, they didn't look unhappy. Now cats do smile. I have a cat here. I can't show the cat because when I've got everything set up, she does a run and hide, so she's nowhere to be seen. But I can look at her, I can see the smile if she's happy. I can see the anger in her mouth when she's unhappy with me, which is 99% of the time. But these lines in this film didn't have that. They were just the same emotion, and I wanted that. I couldn't get behind these characters. I think this film suffered with being too photorealistic. Number 2, Rafiki. In the original film, Rafiki is a wise baboon who's just absolutely hilarious, especially with his blah blah blah, his squash banana song. Does anyone know what he actually said? Because I don't. But he's funny, he's hilarious. He actually whacks a lion on the head with a stick. No, that should never happen, but he pulled it off and he was funny and we all got behind him and we all loved Rafiki. He was one of the most popular characters when the film came out. So how do this new version do it? Well, he's just wise. That's it. Just wise. There's nothing more to the character. Majority of the film, he doesn't even have his stick. He gets up and uses it as a weapon in the Battle of Surprise Rock. But throughout this film, he's humorless, or I didn't find him funny. He was just wise, and that was it. He was just a shaman, nothing more. Number 1, Timon and Pumbaa. Another set of characters that helped making the original so awesome was Timon and Pumbaa. Everybody loved Timon and Pumbaa. And they were funny, they were unique, and they were fresh for the time. And yeah, everybody loved them. So what do we get in this film? Well, they seem to scale them back. They weren't as funny, they were just carbon copies, less funny versions of the original. And they were trying to break the fourth wall, but failed in that as well. I don't know, I just couldn't get behind them. And to me, the impression I got is they saw Simba more as an annoyance rather than a help. The family bond wasn't actually in this film. It was in the original, and it was something that was made the original so heart-wrenching, was the family bonds between Timon, Pumbaa and Simba. But that family bond, you didn't really get that impression with the remake. And this another reason why this film suffered from it. Final thoughts. Okay, I'll be honest, I think watching the original last week and watching the remake this week has probably affected my enjoyment of this film. I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more if I'd watched this straight away. And yeah, but still, these points are still valid. Now, I'm not going to completely slate this film because there are some good things about this film, and mainly the special effects, the visual effects are amazing in this film. But that's also its own downside. I mean, you watch this film and you think, oh, is it real? Is it computer generated? That's how good the effects are. But that's not what you want to be doing, especially with a Disney film. I want to sit back, I want to enjoy a Disney film. I mean, one thing you could do, I'm not actually going to add an 11th thing that can make this film better, is you can remove the entire soundtrack, no vocals from this film, and just have David Attenborough narrating the film. Oh my god, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic, and it would improve this film dramatically so much more. It's never going to happen, but that's something that could make this film so much better. Other than that, let's get on with everything that is actually wrong with this film. As I said, the voice acting, I didn't really like the voice acting. I found it dull, copying, and their voicing, there wasn't that enjoyment. I mean, when you watch the original, you can hear Jeremy Irons having fun. You can hear Whoopi Goldberg having fun. You can hear the pride in James Earl Jones' voice. And yeah, you didn't really get that. Now, I know James Earl Jones is a lot older and his voice has softened in his own, in the years after, which is what they wanted. But still, you should have brought everyone back. It would have made this film that little bit better. But as I said, I don't think the photorealistic side of things didn't really work with this film. It was more watching an animal documentary rather than anything else. The songs and music, I know they brought back Elton John, Tim Rice, and I can't remember the composer's name, but all these people worked on the original, worked on this as well, and it was something not quite right. Even the film score was not as good. It didn't. I love film scores. Film scores are what keep the audience invested that little bit longer. This film had lost that, and I don't know why. I don't know what went wrong with that. So what am I going to rank this? Well, same again, this has been a point of contention in our household, but ultimately I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. The basic story is there, but the heart, the Disney magic isn't there, and that's what you want with a Disney film. Only Disney can add the Disney magic, and this film didn't have it. And it's a shame because the original Lion King was so brilliant. Now, I think another reason which hurts this film is I've ranked this film, the original film, 10 out of 10, and it only came out 24 years ago. It's not long enough. It's still relevant. You can still watch it. It's too soon to be making a remake of The Lion King, especially when it was one that was so critically acclaimed. It was, I'm not going to say it was perfect, but it was near enough perfect. But what do you think? Did you enjoy this film? Am I being too hard? Did I make a mistake watching the original, then watching this? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know your thoughts on the remake of The Lion King. So what am I going to do next week? Well, a couple of weeks ago, I did a John Carpenter film called In the Mouth of Madness, which you guys seem to have loved so much that I've had a request to do another John Carpenter film, so that's what I'm going to do next week. So come back next week, Sunday, 6 PM UK time. I look forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.